I don't have a reason for them not to be similar. So they're going to be similar. And they're going to be, I think, we'll go purple. Yeah, we'll go purple dragons. I feel like this could be an area of color popping. Let me turn off this. So that's a little dark. I want to make sure that I'm picking up lots of the colors behind them without still making them legible. So that's kind of what they look like. You know, they'd have darker shadows, especially this foreground guy. But you know, making it mostly transparent helps me make the color palette feel more unified. You know, just because it's, you know, if they're mixing together, I'm picking up a lot of the existing colors. All right, so we need this. The darker color could probably go, I don't know. I'm gonna erase it. I'm gonna erase right there. I don't like how that's intersecting. That's my cloud brush, by the way. I downloaded that from, I have a course thing that I'm doing. So they gave me a bunch of brushes and to use. I haven't watched the demo on how to actually use them yet, so I'm kind of just winging it. Because I enjoy winging things. I do. So anyway, here is the cloud brush, or one of them at least. I think it's pressure sensitive on like the flow. Speaking of which, my flow and opacity should be closer to 80 when I'm using the brush instead of the gradient tool. This is a texture brush, so it'll help me design the clouds a little bit easier. You know, as I'm going, I can kind of get a sense for what they should look like on a detail level. And the fewer strokes is probably better. Fewer strokes the better, just because I want it to be designed. What I mean by design, I'm kind of throwing around buzzwords. What I mean by designed is I want it to feel like I intentionally decided to add brushstrokes rather than, you know, I was kind of like going back and forth, and this is what it ended up being. And they look really different, and it saves time if I can figure out why I'm doing a brush stroke before I actually do it. So yeah, fewer quality brush strokes is better than a bunch of I'm not sure what I'm doing brush strokes, which is so common. It's like a habit I have to keep snapping myself out of. You know, because my tendency is to sit there and just sort of noodle. And by noodle, I mean like, this needs some blue, this needs some purple, that sort of thing. Noodling, I don't want to do it because, you know, I'm trying to learn why I do things, and it's harder. It's harder to think about your brush strokes and understand why you do the things you do before you do them. But in the long run, it does make you faster, even if it feels a lot slower, just because then you won't be making a bunch of mistakes and overworking and redoing stuff because you didn't do it right the first time. It's actually a problem I had in architecture school where I would make models very quickly without thinking, and I would just sort of spend a lot of time trying to make all the broken stuff work instead of making a model that worked on its own. This feels very similar to that. My clouds are pretty stylized. I don't know what I'm doing with clouds. I think I've said that a lot in this video, but I just don't. They're kind of fun. I don't know how I would do this in markers. When I sketch traditionally, it's with markers. And so everything tends to be a little bit like the wrong color, first of all, and a little bit strange. And I do it very, very, very quickly. Like each of these bottoms in markers would be one brush stroke, and I would not go back to it. I just wouldn't. The sort of demos I've been looking at as examples, they last hours. Like not even just like this 3-hour stream. Like I'm talking the people who did some really cool stuff with clouds and trees that I'm supposed to be mimicking. They took 20 plus hours on paintings. Like at this stage, I mean, and even they're faster than me. Like I say that's a long time, but like they'd be done at this stage at like 30 minutes instead of however long it's been, an hour. It would have been a lot faster. Let's see. I want to make the bottom swooshier. I have to be careful because I'm kind of getting noodly. I like this texture brush, so I'm kind of, I'm coming in a little too much, I think, with it. This cloud feels a little bit weird. It doesn't. I don't want to do too small of strokes. I feel like it's not quite right somehow. It doesn't feel like the other clouds. I don't know what it is about this cloud that bothers me so much. Let's see. Okay, so those are the dragons. All right. I think I need tea. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna get some tea. Hold tight. All right, the water's boiling, so I'll probably leave again in a second, in maybe 3 minutes to pour it, and then again a third time to get the tea. All right, I think that it's still working. I'm just being quiet, I think. I have to keep one headphone off so I can hear in case the thing breaks. But and it actually probably looks really goofy, but I mean, I always look a little goofy, so it's not like that's important. So before I get into these dragons, I think I need to experiment a little bit more with this brush. Oops. This brush. I got it in my brush set. I feel like I could really show the form of some of these things if I just take some time. This texture brush with the weird squigglies. If I take some time to just pick good places for there to be this swoosh, right? Swoosh. Because then I can really show the direction of these puffs and stuff. You know, because then, you know, you see where the line is going. That's pretty stylized. You wouldn't see that in an old master's painting or whatever. Oh, not there. That's a bad place for it. Maybe I'll add a little bit of lightness to this. Add some swishies here. I know that, okay, so earlier I was talking about these things up here, the structure, scale, and opacity. I do not know, oh yeah, the scale, the texture. I do not know how I'm going to add a lot of extra texture to these foreground clouds, but that is important in establishing how they should work, how they should look. I also feel like I do need a shadow. I've kind of drawn a shadow initially here. I need another one on the ground, just because it feels more natural. Okay, so I'm gonna draw this shadow. Needs to be darker than that. Actually, wait, we're doing warmer shadows, so we're going to take this. This is important. Color choice is important. So I'm going to take this a little more red before I put it on. Because the light is cool and the shadows are warm. Anyway, back to the clouds. Let's see. This is good for the direction. I don't want to put it everywhere, though, because then you won't actually look at it. And I say you in a general sense. I don't mean the person watching. Like you specifically. I mean you and Jin. I don't know. This is... it's too much. Too many swishes. We could add some here. Actually, I don't want to add too much texture because that one's definitely far back, and I don't want to. That is, this cloud back here is the one that does not need any texture. It's like this. This is the star cloud right here, the star of the show. This is the cloud that if I was gonna be fiddling with, it would be okay. This one. Right here. I feel like you could also use this brush for some of those swishier clouds. You know the kind. Stratus clouds. I don't know how to do them. I'm gonna push this one farther back with the blue. I'm gonna make sure this isn't being touched, and then I will just push it back a little bit. When I say push it back, I mean add the color of the background, because the farther things are away, the more they are the color of the background, which is usually the sky. So it's usually like purple and then blue, but not always. So if you draw stuff, it's not hard and fast as a rule. You can do what you want with it. Anyway, so we have the ground. We have the character. I guess I could mess with these dragons a little bit more. I have them as this light purple right now, but I need to add some warm warm shadows to them.